Hi, I'm Morgan O'Regan, and I'm from Burlington, Connecticut, which is about 2.5 hours from St. A's. I attended Lewis Mills High School, and at St. A's, I am a social work major and peace and justice studies minor, but I'm thinking about adding criminal justice as a major. In the future, I hope to become a licensed social worker and work with troubled youth. I'm super excited to be taking classes at St. A's that I'm interested in. For classes this year, I'm taking first year writing, conversatio, law and justice and European history, and intro to social work. The people that I've met here have made my transition to college super easy, and the past 2 months have flown by, and I cannot believe that it's already almost November. At school so far, I've become involved in campus activities boards, our student government, and also club rugby. The pandemic has definitely impacted our lives in every way possible, but I'm super happy and grateful to be here at St. A's taking in-person classes and still getting the full college experience. As far as my academics, conversatio is one of my more interesting and engaging classes because we can have discussions and debates about real-life issues and topics.
Hi, my name is Lauren O'Connell, and I'm from North Andover, Massachusetts. I am a nursing major here at St. Anselm College, and I run for the women's cross-country team. I went to North Andover High School, and I committed here in the beginning of my senior year. One of my goals in life is to work at Boston Children's Hospital as a pediatric nurse. Although it has been a little bit difficult adjusting to college during a pandemic, it's going really well so far. I've made so many friends through cross-country and Girls on My Floor. I love it here. I'm currently taking anatomy and physiology, psychology, introduction to writing, and of course conversatio. All of my classes are super interesting. It's taking some adjusting to the combination of online and in-person school, however it's going really well. In anatomy, we are dissecting a fetal pig, and we're learning so much about the different organ systems. I know it sounds wicked gross, but it's really helping us learn all the concepts. In conversatio, we're reading the Bhagavad Gita, which is a fundamental text in Hinduism. This text correlates to the themes of the course because it focuses on self-discipline and how to live a righteous life.
Hi, my name is Natalie O'Connor, and I'm from Longmeadow, Massachusetts. I am a business major here at St. Anselm College, and I am also part of the women's lacrosse team. I went to Longmeadow High School, where I ran cross-country for 3 years and played lacrosse on the varsity team for 4 years. And I committed to St. Anselm College in the summer before my senior year. In the future, I would love to become my own boss and run a business that I've worked at for so many years or start my own. I'm currently taking 4 classes: Spanish, conversatio, American Studies, and microeconomics. It took a little time to settle into a schedule, blocking out time to watch lectures, do homework, go to class, and go to practice. My favorite class is microeconomics because in high school, business was my favorite subject, and I love seeing all the charts that describe our economy and watching the stock prices rise and fall. Conversatio is also one of my favorite classes because it pushes me out of my comfort zone, which is talking in a class in front of other people. I've always been afraid of public speaking, and conversatio is not only helping me get better at public speaking, but is also interesting to read multiple different texts and finding so many similarities between them.
This semester, we took a course called conversatio, which roughly translates to a way of life. This class was divided up into lectures and seminars, so we'd have the large lectures to discuss the broad topics and then seminars with small groups to kind of break out into discussion and debate. This class teaches different perspectives and shows different paths that we could go on in our lives. The significance of the individual, the community, and divine are all 3 fundamental aspects of how we live our lives. The connection we form with them affects the way we act and our morals. The value of a liberal arts education, which is something that we have at St. Anselm College, creates a more well-rounded student as it provides base knowledge in every subject. The education teaches the mind to think critically and freely. It bases the St. Anselm education on the Catholic Benedictine traditions that encourage faithfulness to a way of life through writings of St. Benedict and St. Anselm. These themes help the student understand the value of the eternal world and break away from the materialistic realm. In class, in Conversatio, we consider the meaning of humanity in the world through many texts and discussions. This course finds a happiness that is not vulnerable to change and chance through ways of life. Conversatio is a class that involves a lot of philosophical reasoning, which can lead to some interesting and meaningful conversations, and I'm excited to participate more and more in this class as I take it next semester as well.
In this class, we have discussed so many of our values and beliefs and understood them in the context of the text we were reading. Some examples of the other texts we have read this trimester are Antigone, The Color of Water, and St. Augustine's Confessions. All of these allow us to immerse ourselves in conversations and debates regarding various topics, such as religion, spirituality, race, injustices, and our relationship with our community, politics and power, and many more. Our discussion typically focuses on relating the text to the themes of the course: the individual, the community, and the divine. Dharma is the central theme and core of the text and forms the basis for later discussions on the nature of karma. Dharma roughly translates to one's duty, and karma is the action. The Hindu religion focuses on the idea of reincarnation and discipline in the physical world. The point of karma is to better yourself and climb the social caste system. The caste system is something you are born into based on the type of person you were in your past life. Dharma is one's purpose within the caste system and focuses on doing the best possible job. Karma is the individual actions that produce the final caste level after reincarnation. The most relatable Western phrase to this ideology would be the phrase, "No good deed goes unpunished." There will always be a reaction to any action one does, so it's critical we are mindful of this. We also must be conscious of the reasons behind our actions. We must ask ourselves if we are doing something for ourselves or from truly the kindness within our hearts. On page 71 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, fallen in discipline, he reaches world made by his virtue, wherein he dwells the endless years until he is reborn in a house of upright and noble men. This line explains how one's action in the physical world will benefit them after death, as they are given the opportunity to benefit them during their lives. This concept leads into reincarnation, which Morgan will further explain.
Reincarnation is a concept seen in Bhagavad Gita because it is very common in Hindu culture as a belief. Reincarnation is defined as the rebirth of a soul into a new body. When Arjuna and Krishna were having a discussion on whether it was okay for Arjuna to fight his own family, Krishna says, and I quote, "Our bodies are known to end, but the embodied self is enduring, indestructible, and immeasurable. Therefore, Arjuna, fight the battle." End quote. Because according to reincarnation, you are born into a new body, but your soul stays. And your body isn't important. It is your soul that is important, and it is what stays no matter if you are reincarnated. Within Bhagavad Gita, there's emphasis on what inside is mattering more than what's on your outside shell, such as your soul mattering over your actual body. In a quote from Bhagavad Gita, it describes this concept of reincarnation again. That which pervades the entire soul you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. The soul and the body are two very different things. The body is temporary and the soul is eternal. And that is what Krishna's argument was with Arjuna when there was a conflict on killing and fighting with his family.
The article we chose helps sum up all the themes and ideas that the Bhagavad Gita gives us. The Bhagavad Gita translates to the Song of God. We know that God is always with us, but he is not our body or our identity. He is our soul. And like God, our souls will last forever without our bodies being present. The article and the Bhagavad Gita helped me realize that although everyone has a body and a soul, they are two separate parts to what makes up each person. But because we make decisions throughout our life that can be harmful, our bodies are destroyed while our souls live forever.
Dharma is the central theme and core of the text and forms the basis for later discussions on the nature of karma. Dharma roughly translates to one's duty, and karma is the action. The Hindu religion focuses on the idea of reincarnation and discipline in the physical world. The point of karma is to better yourself and climb the social caste system. The caste system is something you were born into based on the type of person you were in your past life. Dharma is one's purpose within the caste system and focuses on doing the best possible job. Karma is the individual actions that produce the final caste level after reincarnation. The most relatable Western phrase to this ideology would be the phrase, "No good deed goes unpunished." There will always be a reaction to any action one does, so it's critical we are mindful of this. We also must be conscious of the reasons behind our actions. We must ask ourselves if we are doing something for ourselves or from truly the kindness within our hearts. On page 71 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, fallen in discipline, he reaches a world made by his virtue, wherein he dwells the endless years until he is reborn in a house of upright and noble men. This line explains how one's action in the physical world will benefit them after death, as they are given the opportunity to benefit them during their lives. This concept leads into reincarnation, which Morgan will further explain.
The Bhagavad Gita is a religious text of the Hindus. However, it is more than just a religious text. It is also a philosophical and spiritual text. It is a manual for life and how to face struggles in life. It is a part of the 6th chapter of the Mahabharata, and there is a conflict between two sides, and they happen to be families, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. However, the Pandavas are cheated out of the kingdom by the Kauravas. In this part of the Mahabharata, we meet Arjuna, who is reluctant to kill his family, and he would much rather lose his social status than to kill his own family. A quote to show this is, "It is better in this world to beg for scraps of food than to eat meals smeared with blood of the elders that I killed," on page 32. We also meet Krishna, who tells Arjuna that he is a warrior and his job is to kill. Reincarnation is brought up, and a quote to show this is, "Nothing of non-being becomes to be, nor does being cease to exist," on page 34. Krishna is disappointed in Arjuna for choosing not to kill his family because eternal disgrace as a warrior is worse than the death of a family member. Krishna is talking to Arjuna and tells him that you need to turn your knowledge into wisdom, and that he can't fight only physically. He has to fight mentally as well. Arjuna learns that practicing yoga helps him control his senses and keep his wisdom. Yoga, we find out, is not only the action, but it is also knowledge and achieving full insight. Arjuna realizes that actions are forced and not chosen. He also learns that you cannot see someone's true self unless they let you see it. In the book, Krishna lets Arjuna have the divine eye, which lets him see all of Krishna's different forms or personalities.
The Bhagavad Gita related to our conversatio course a lot and definitely impacted some of the conversations we had in class and contributed a lot to the bigger picture of the idea of conversatio. The Bhagavad Gita showed the individual, community, and divine aspect of conversatio, which is the way of life, the Benedictine vow to the way of life. Krishna represented the divine, and the community would be the family, and Arjuna would be representing the individual. There's conflict regarding the individual's role in the community and whether Arjuna should interfere with the possible fighting and war that might take place. Krishna dramatizes the Hindu idea that one must heroically confront death in order to transcend the limits of worldly existence. The divine is telling Arjuna to do one thing, and his individual is telling him to do another, all involving this community, which would be his family, which the Pandavas and the Kauravas are fighting. Krishna is the divine and discusses that a decision must be made to the conflict happening with Arjuna and the decision that he must make as a person. This is a quote regarding the divine. Arjuna, see my forms in hundreds of thousands, diverse divine of many colors and shapes. This quote explains how the human perspective is restrictive in seeing the true divine, so we must put our trust in our gods and our divine. Some of the more meaningful conversations we've had in class were because of the Bhagavad Gita. We discussed our beliefs and our opinions on spirituality and the meaning the divine has in our own life, which is super interesting to see what others believe and see as true in their life, and see the experiences that they've had with the individuality they have and the divine, and how their community can impact them and their beliefs in spirituality and divine.
Hi, so I'm going to read you a section of the book. It's the 12th teaching of devotion, and then Natalie, Morgan, and I will discuss it together and explain what it means and how it connects to the themes of the course. So to start, Arjuna says, "Who best knows discipline? Men who worship you with devotion, ever disciplined, or men who worship the imperishable you manifest?" Lord Krishna explains, "I deem most disciplined men of enduring discipline who worship me with true faith, entrusting their minds to me. Men reach me to worship what is imperishable, ineffable, unmanifest, omnipresent, inconceivable, immutable at the summit of existence, mastering their senses with the equanimity towards everything they teach me, rejoicing in the welfare of all creatures. It is more arduous when their reason clings to the manifest nature of men constrained of bodies. The unmanifest way is hard to attain, but men intent on me, renounce all actions to me, and worship me, meditating with singular discipline. When they entrust reason to me, Arjuna, I soon arise and rescue them from the ocean of death and rebirth. Focus your mind on me. Let your understanding enter me, and then you will dwell within me without doubt. If you cannot concentrate your thought firmly on me, then seek to reach me, Arjuna, by discipline and practice. Even if you fail in practice, dedicate yourself to action. Performing actions for my sake, you will achieve success. If you are powerless to do even this, rely on my discipline, be self-controlled, and reject all fruit of action. Knowledge is better than practice, meditation better than knowledge. Rejecting fruits of action is still it brings peace. One who bears hate for no creature is friendly, compassionate, unselfish, free of individuality, patient, the same suffering and joy. Content, always disciplined, self-controlled, firm in his resolve, his mind and understanding dedicated to me, devoted to me, he is dear to me. The world does not flee from him, nor does he flee from the world. Free of delight, rage, fear, and disgust, he is dear to me. Disinterested, pure, skilled, indifferent, untroubled, relinquished all involvements, devoted to me, he is dear to me. He does not rejoice or hate, grieve or feel desire. Relinquishing fortune and misfortune, the man of devotion is dear to me. Impartial to foe and friend, honor and contempt, cold and heat, joy and suffering, he is free from attachment. Neutral to blame and praise, silent, content with his fate, unsheltered, firm in thought, the man is devoted, dear to me. Even more dear to me are devotees who cherish this elixir of sacred duty as I have taught it, intent on me in their faith.
So this is our discussion on section 12 of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna at this point is curious as to who is wiser, people who are practicing yoga and following the divine, or those who are honoring his imperishable manifestation. Krishna, who is the divine, responds with saying that those who practice yoga are the closest, but those who are honoring the imperishable reach him more, and Arjuna is struggling with this revelation that he just received.
Krishna tells us that if you think about him and only him very often, then you'll go far beyond death and reincarnation. And if you cannot do this, then you should practice yoga to reach God. And he's telling us that insight is above the practice of yoga. However, if you cannot practice yoga, you should focus on Krishna's work because it will lead you to fulfillment. There is one more option that you can choose if you cannot follow any of the previous steps, which is to focus on Krishna's power, and in order to give up the fruits of action, and letting those go is better than having a focused mind and wisdom. Krishna gives us these ways to worship that work for different people because everyone worships in their own way.
So this last section talks about how Arjuna begins to realize the deeper purpose of Krishna. So instead of respecting Krishna because of his wisdom, as he did in previous sections of the Bhagavad Gita, he begins to respect Krishna because of his relationship to the divine. These last few sections emphasize how in order for Krishna to care for you, you must act selflessly without any hatred. You must have the self-discipline Krishna preaches throughout the section, through meditation and yoga, and release any temptations you have to the physical world. This chapter is a turning point for Arjuna, and he is able to devote himself to the divine.
So now we're just going to talk about what we learned from the text and what our takeaways were and what others were and how we can incorporate it into our own lives. So for myself, the Bhagavad Gita explains our moral duties and talks about the holistic spiritual development and how to achieve these through self-control, mental purity, and dedication to God and to your spirituality. And the spirituality aspect is something that I learned a lot about from the Bhagavad Gita. And I was also able to take away the idea of dharma and the duty we have in our lives and apply it to my own in order to reflect upon it.
The Bhagavad Gita was really influential as I read it because not only it aligned with my personal beliefs, but because it also showed the development of Arjuna and the journey it takes to achieve this type of enlightenment. I have always practiced yoga and been passionate about mindfulness. However, this gave me a new look on how it takes to get to the new light.
The Bhagavad Gita is like a manual as to how we should live our lives and reach our final destination. And it gives us a way not only to get where we want to be spiritually, but mentally we can practice yoga to help us reconnect and relax.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed this project and it was a really fun experience to get to know some of my classmates. Since we haven't really gotten to know each other due to COVID and being separated, it was a great opportunity to meet new people, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. So I'm hopeful you took something meaningful away from our presentation, and maybe you'll incorporate some of our activities into your daily lives. Thank you again. Oh, and see you next time for our next presentation.
Thank you so much for watching. This was my first group project that I was able to be a part of because of COVID, and I loved working with Lauren and Morgan. It has been so much fun getting to know them while still following all the rules regarding COVID. I really enjoyed this project, and I hope you all enjoyed it as well. I can't wait to make another video for you all to watch. I hope that we are adding some more activities into your week, and I hope you were able to take something meaningful away from our presentation like I did. Bye!
Thank you so much for watching. We enjoyed creating this video for all of you, and through explaining the text, I felt that I was able to understand its meaning in a deeper way and apply it to my own life, and I hope that you all were able to take something away as well from our explanations of the text. I hope you enjoy our meditation video to go along, because I did it and I felt super relaxed, and it was definitely a nice break from our crazy world right now. Alright, I can't wait for our next video project and for you all to watch it again. Hope you enjoy. Bye.